Hi, I'm Nick Shell, and today is January 1st, 2025. It's still the morning time for me, and I'm very happy to have just recorded my first song for 2025, which is called The Mandela Effect. And if you're watching this video and haven't seen me perform that song, look in the link below. There will be a link to take you to that 3-minute song. The way this works is every year since 2020, I have written and recorded a minimum of 12 songs for every calendar year. It's the idea of, in theory, I have at least one song to kind of cover each month of the year, even though there's certain months I'll do 3 songs in 1 month and others where I do none. And sometimes I've even done more than 12, but that's a good healthy number for me. This is a personal challenge that I like to put on myself as far as I'm a creative person, and I know that, so it's a good healthy balance for me to be able to challenge myself to write these songs. And I have realized that I'm not necessarily an emotional person, but writing songs brings that out of me. I feel like I only really experience a few emotions compared to most people, like joy, anger. I'm sure there's another one. So for these songs, it draws it out of me. So what I do is after I record the song, then I explain what inspired me to write that song. So this one is called The Mandela Effect. I imagine you've heard of this, but it's this concept that people collectively have false memories. I guess my favorite example, the Berenstain Bears. I grew up in the 80s having all those books and watching the TV show, but it was always Berenstain Bears. It was never Berenstein Bears or Berenstein Bears. It was Berenstain Bears. And so people kind of like, what? And then they look back and like, wow, it really was an A. It was Berenstain. Not Stein or Steen. And ultimately, Mandela Effect is referring to people thought Nelson Mandela had died a long time ago when he really was still alive during a lot of time. So it was a false memory that he had died, and at the time he was still alive. So that's the concept, and you can kind of see where this song is going as far as having this collective false memory of what life is. And so I will say what initially inspired me writing this song was completely different words. And this won't be the first time where I've done this year, where I record a song that had completely different meaning and words altogether, but I wrote the chords and the melody and everything, and then I just changed the words. But actually last April 2024, I wanted to write a song that was going to be about my upcoming high school class reunion, my 25th high school class reunion, and it was called the Class of '99. But I just wasn't feeling it once I wrote the song, and it didn't really capture the idea of what I wanted to do. So I basically just scrapped that and came back about 6 months later, and then actually September 15th, 2024, which was still a couple months ago now, is when I rewrote this song, and it clicked this time. So here we go. And keep in mind too, I guess there is this spiritual success or spiritual sequel to the original version of itself, because the original was going to be about me thinking back on my senior year of high school in 1999 and returning to things after all these years have passed. Well, similarly, I moved from Nashville back to my hometown in Alabama last year also, right around the time it would have been my class reunion. So I would say that here in January 25 compared to May 2024 when I moved here, imagine what it would be like if you have been gone for 2 decades or more, which I had been, and then you have certain expectations of what life will be like. And I love life here, but as far as like where are all the people that I grew up with? Well, some of them are still here. But it's like people that I'm friends with now are not necessarily people I was really friends with growing up. I knew them, but now I'm connected more with people that I really wasn't that close to before. And the people I was close to before, either I don't see them that much, I'm just not as connected with them now, or they don't even live here. And so specifically, well, I'll go ahead and give the lyrics and maybe I can go into some more details from there. Here we go. The Mandela Effect. Feels like a former life I still have memories from, but I'm not done. Where did everyone go? Divinely disconnected. I can't be the only one. Missing out on something. Where did everyone go? So this concept I've returned, and where is everybody? This isn't like it was 25 years ago. And then the chorus is, could it be the Mandela Effect? Life is not the way we remember it. Like we're left with less. There's an emptiness. There's a longing that I sense. Something's a little off. Something's a little off, but I just can't put a finger on it. So that's the first verse. Something a bit unusual about this song is it actually has 3 solid verses. Usually I don't do 3 verses, usually just 2 and then maybe a bridge and repeat the chorus. But over this, it's just very formulaic. It's very copy and paste. Here's the intro, here's the verse, here's the chorus. Repeat that a few times and the song's over. Now moving on to the second verse. This now abandoned building, well, it used to be where we used to meet. It was a lifetime ago. I still remember people who I used to know. Have they forgotten me completely? It was a lifetime ago. So yeah, I have a very good memory, and I'm known for this. And I can remember conversations that took place when we were kids, and I can bring it up. And usually people have no memory of that. It's almost as if I just made up this memory. It's very real for me, but they don't remember it. And so, same concept with buildings even. It's like the church I go to now was not the church I went to growing up, but when I started preschool actually 40 years ago in 1985, it was First Methodist Church in Fort Payne, Alabama. And those are some of my first memories of being in preschool at that church. And then when I went on to be in Cub Scouts, it was at that church. And I would go to my friend's vacation Bible school at that church. And so now as an adult, a 43-year-old man, I'm at this church, which was already, it's 100 years old now, the building. But it takes me back to these preschool days, these Cub Scout days, these summer vacation days. And it's not necessarily the same people there. So it's assigning this value to a building, this idea to a building. The building's still there, the memories are still from there, but what it's used today, either no one's in the building or it's used for a different purpose altogether. I know even at that church there was this playground and they tore down the playground and now they built a new building over it. But I still think that was the playground I grew up on. That's the playground. Then moving on to the final verse. We live in a world built alongside ancient remains. Sometimes I want to say, have I been here before? Do we have the same hopes and fears as our ancestors did? Maybe in some way, have I been here before? And I'll tell you what inspired that verse, and I'm very proud of that because I think it fits in perfectly with this song. But I love, on Netflix, there's a show called Ancient Apocalypse, and I just love the show. And so that's what that was what inspired. Like, in reality, the world we live in, we can look among us. There are ancient remains, and we're living alongside of them. I mean, of course, there's Stonehenge, and there's Easter Island. There's the pyramids. And what's interesting is in that show, and this is what I believe that the Bible teaches that there was this flood that in theory destroys the earth and wipes out most of humankind. And if you watch the show Ancient Apocalypse, what it leads us to believe, and it is what I believe, is that pretty much human civilization for the most part was wiped out, but yet the pyramids remained, Stonehenge remained. There was there's proof of ancient technology that was actually superior to ours now, but it all got wiped out. And so people started over, and okay, well, here's these pyramids, but there was no real record of why it was there, so people just go along with it. Yeah, this is our ancestors built this, but they don't really know. No one really knows, but they just take ownership of it and, oh yeah, that's my thing. But I think in the same way, that's what it's like even returning back 20, 25 years later, is that all the stuff's still here, the memories are still here, the people are different, or we're more enhanced versions of ourselves, we've matured. And so things do feel a little off, even though things are kind of the same. So I think that this concept definitely is congruent to the idea of the Mandela Effect. And I think even if you're not like me and you move back to your hometown, I think there's this concept of, as you get older, you become a more mature person, but life just feels differently. But you grew up with certain people, so you can have these conversations, and yet you collectively have these memories that aren't exactly the same way. I know a couple years ago, my sister and I, we watched a VHS tape tape of one of our Christmases, like when we were teenagers. I'm like, I remember that Christmas, but I don't remember us acting the way we did or speaking the way we did. So it's like a new and improved version or a more enhanced version, but it just feels weird looking back on how things used to be to how they are now. Thanks for watching this video. Again, if you'd like to hear me play the song, you can click the link below and you can leave me a comment. I'll be happy to hear from you. Thanks for watching.